I'm James.
And I'm PJ. Welcome back to your weekly whiskey, wine, and all things barrel aged podcast.
Well, I am just going to play the big idiot today because this is
You're
basically the knowledge. I have no idea what we're drinking. I'm excited. I have a little bit of an intro on what it is. Sauternes, if we're pronouncing
Sauternes.
that correctly.
Say it quickly. Sauternes.
Sauternes.
It is Sauternes, and we're going to talk to you about. We do all things barrel aged, and we do talk about wine, and we're going to get you into some Sauternes and talk
French
about
sweet wine.
A French sweet wine from a region in France, actually within the Bordeaux region.
Ooh.
So this is a very granular region, and Sauternes, I thought, to bring onto this show because I think that this is something that's going to be right in the vein of both your palate and the palate of our watchers and listeners, because Sauternes is not just your typical squash the grape, age the grape, make wine kind of wine. This is actually a really interesting scientific process that goes all the way back to the 14th century.
Interesting.
Where wine was being experimented with rot. Noble rot, actually. And we drink quite a bit of whiskeys that uses a Sauternes cask.
We do. And one of the big ones that most people will probably see is Whistle Pig. They did I don't think they do this any longer, but they did an Old World Series Sauternes Finish Rye. They did a 12-year.
Oh my God, I imagine that would be amazing.
And it was aged in or finished in a Sauternes cask, which was what this wine was in and developed, I guess. I don't know what else to say. How it was created. It was sat in the wine, sat in the barrel.
And it is a good barrel. This is a aged in a... So some interesting facts about Sauternes.
Okay.
Let's first talk. We talked a little bit about the region. It comes from a region called Sauternes, France. It's within the Bordeaux wine region. This is a very cool wine because it's a late harvest wine. It's meant to stay on the vine and allow to go through a process called noble rot. It's supposed to rot. It literally grows rot.
Okay.
It almost turns into raisins. That's how long it stays on the vine.
Yeah, and it sounds very, not cognac, but Armagnac, very close to Armagnac.
There will be some rancio notes into this. It gets viscous like a mead. It has fruit-forward tastings like a mead. I actually think you and your mead knowledge, I think, is going to contribute a lot to the tasting tonight.
Okay.
And Sauternes is actually something you can go to any Total Wine, Bevmo, most liquor stores. You can pick up a Sauternes really easily.
Okay.
So I want to get into it.
Yeah, and I really want to get this nose. I really want to smell it. Oh boy, that is sweet. That is definitely mead reminiscent.
Oh, that's
nice. So what I'm getting, if you guys, and pardon my wine ignorance here as we go through this, but I'm getting like a sweet white wine nose. So like a Riesling or some type of sweet white.
And how right you would be. So Sauternes is typically made from 3 styles of grape. It's made from, and like most wines, right? Wines are named after the grape that they're grown from. So Sauternes is usually made from a Semillon, a Sauvignon Blanc, or a Muscatel wine.
Okay. Grapes. You mean grapes?
These are, I'm sorry, a grape.
Grapes.
Okay.
They go through the noble rot process.
They do.
Okay.
And there are blends. So you can get a Sauternes, which is a Sauvignon Blanc pure, a Muscatel pure, or even this, I think it's Semillon. Is that right? Yeah. Semillon pure. But you also get blends, and that's what we're drinking tonight. Tonight we're having the Duberdieu Liaison 2016, and it's a blend of Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc grape. So this is not a pure. This is a blend. This is actually pretty well respected. Denis Duberdieu of the Duberdieu production company in France.
So interesting. I'm just doing some reading here. So
puts this one out.
So the grapes, these grapes get noble rot. So they're basically rotting on the vine to an
Absolutely.
extent.
Yes.
And what it does is it partially turns them into raisins. Like
That's
they sort
correct.
of raisinify.
They raisinify.
Raisin.
Yes.
Raisined. They become raisined, which apparently says it concentrates the flavor in them. So they get really sweet and super concentrated.
Very concentrated.
Pulling out the H2O in those little guys.
Correct. And you get this very concentrated, this very rotted, this, so they talk about, so chefs will talk about how when you rot or you cause something to age, you get a more cucumber. You get a more celery. You get a more beefy beef. That's why we dry age a steak, right? Technically, you are rotting a steak. You are dry rotting a steak, but you're getting a much more beef forward steak through that process. So you're getting a much more winey wine. You're getting a much more concentrated grape. So that's the process.
And I'm glad we're having this show, because I will say this much: Sauternes and whiskey, there's a ton of Sauternes cask barrel aged or finished whiskeys and scotches out there.
Yes.
So I know a lot of you, probably a couple of years ago, before even the show, I would have no idea what Sauternes is. And I'd be like, what's a whiskey? What is a Sauternes? I think it's like wine, and not even think twice. I'm like, ugh, I don't want that. Not knowing that it was like
Sauternes cask.
Not knowing that it was like a grapey, sweet grape juice wine, basically. Hey, really quick, I want to get to the chat. We have a ton of action. Ton of heat in the chat.
A wine show is going to bring out some chat here, so bring it on.
Top Feed Coco, basically, we just got some greetings to acknowledge some folks. Top Feed, hello there, welcome. Uncle Punky, good to see you. Patrick Curry, good to see you, bud.
Oh, Patrick is watching under the table.
There you go. And he said, Top Feed says, I just had a great idea for the show and funding. You could charge us mortals for a book club membership, and we pay for the picks of the week to show up before the shows.
Ooh, I like it.
No, so here,
that's
actually,
I'm
going to throw this out there, what I was kind of thinking. And kudos to Mr. Musk of Twitter fame and Tesla fame. Well, of Tesla fame, now Twitter. Their subscription model is like very creator friendly, and we may be able to like dual.
We may be going over there, is what he's saying.
No, not like leaving
sharing,
YouTube, but that's not what we're doing, but sharing on Twitter. And then if we start up there, so what they do, they basically have like a subscription model where it's a couple bucks a month and you get access to whatever the creators want to give you. So then we could just hold, they already do like polling really easily on Twitter. You just select what you guys want, and we could just have special members only.
I think it's time for that.
Shows and members only swag.
I think it's time for that.
I wanted like a jacket, windbreaker, just members only.
A members only jacket
members
that has
only
the Barrel Buddies
Buddies
logos on it. Oh my god! Okay, leave a comment. Would you wear this?
Would you wear that?
Would you wear that?
A members only Barrel Buddies windbreaker.
So
I really quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to some brands of whiskeys because
just
blast them really quick. Some stuff you guys have probably heard. So besides Whistle Pig, Glenmorangie,
absolutely,
does the Nectar d'Or.
Nectar d'Or, yeah,
does Sauternes,
delightful
in Sauternes cast finished. Tullibardine. Sorry, I'm not super familiar with all these names.
That's a Scotch. That's
another Scotch
in a cask.
Ben Reich.
Yeah,
it's another one, but that's a Sauternes.
Very nice.
Westward Whiskey. They're pretty new to the scene. I know some of you guys have probably seen them, but they do a Sauternes cask.
Good for them for stepping out and doing something fun and different.
Barrel, our wonderful friends at Barrel Craft Spirits. Shout out to them. Those guys are awesome because I just love,
and of course they would,
99% of the stuff they put out. And they do that. Glenallachie, one of our favorite scotches. Glenallachie does a 13-year Sauternes cask, and it averages on that one a 13-year Sauternes cask Glenallachie Scotch is only $169.
Damn, that's
average.
Wow.
Not bad at all.
So again, we're going on that $10 per year in age statement.
Average is what you aim for.
And so you're telling me a 16-year for 130, that's pretty good value. It's underneath what you expect. And then weren't we saying Old Elk? We're pretty sure Old Elk does a Sauternes.
I'm pretty sure they have an Old Elk finished Sauternes as well. Hill Rock, to be honest, not that great of a whiskey, but it's finished at Sauternes. Maybe that changes it, which, hey, it really could.
Definitely could.
That's a few of the handful, man. There's so many out there. There's like, wow. Like I'm surprised that there's this much of a list of Sauternes being casks being used in whiskey
because it gives such a nice sweetness and a nice complexity. And so I do want to get into, before we take a drink and we tell you a little bit about this, 13% alcohol content. It's aged no less than 5 years. It can be aged up to 40 years under the right condition.
Wow. So, I mean, what are you getting? I'm guessing, what do you get with the aging of this? Like, my thought was, okay, my thought was, once you produce this, doesn't the flavor stay pretty consistent? Or like, what does the barrel aging really do?
It's a great question. So as with any wine barrel aging, you're infusing, just like with whiskey, you're infusing at a molecular level the barrel into your juice. Okay.
Mhm.
So you're bringing in hints and tones of oak spice, vanilla. You're also going to lower the acidic content of your grape. So you're going to take something that could be highly acidic and very offensive, and you're going to bring that acidity pH way down and make it way more approachable.
Okay.
You're going to bring in a beautiful hue. This is going to become even more viscous in the barrel, right? Because your H2O component is going to go into that barrel. It's going to evaporate out through the barrel Lamaze process,
Mhm.
and you're going to get something that is even more like, you're already getting a highly concentrated product, and through the barrel aging process, you're going to get an even more concentrated product.
And you can already, like, you can see the legs on this thing. It's
Very
like almost
viscous.
syrupy.
Mhm.
It's like, I don't know, you guys can't see it from there, but one of these days we'll get a new camera.
And there was a great question that came up prior to the show. We do have a couple people here with us, and one of the questions was, do you need to let this breathe? Like, would you decant this?
Yeah, great question.
Good question. So again, we're talking no less than 5 years. There's no age statement on this bottle. No less than 5 years. So you're talking at least 5 years on this.
Yeah.
It's been stuck in that bottle.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually do believe you can open it up, let it get a little air. I don't know if I would decant it. Okay. I don't think I would
let it breathe a little bit. Just
but I do think giving it a little air.
Welcome to the world, little guy.
And letting it come in and sit into this glass. Notice we haven't even sipped it yet. We have been swirling. We've been aerating it. We've been giving it a little oxygen, because we really want to take what's been held up in this bottle and let it really breathe and open up. So with that, I do think we should get into this a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about pairing.
Cheers. Yeah, let us know what you're drinking out there, friends. So Sub 1K, welcome, bud. We got a little Sub 1K action.
Okay, so
all right, I'm going into it here.
3-sip rule, everyone. 3-sip rule.
So, okay, let me ask a question before I get in the other 2 sips. How is this supposed to be served? Chilled, room temp, 30-minute rule, like room temp plus 30 in the fridge?
Yeah, I think it should actually be.
I want this a little colder,
out of the fridge, and sit room temp for 30 minutes. Now this is room temp. Maybe even a little warmer.
I would like it maybe like a little colder.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that,
but not
chilling it,
it's
not super chilled.
Yeah.
I think it's going to mute some flavors.
I wouldn't super chill it, like they get really cold.
But I think at room temp it's fine. I'm with you. I think that chilling it might make it a little
Ed,
more
what's going on, man? Ed Hatcher's here. What up,
Hey,
guys?
what's
up, man? Good to see you. Reminder, Ed, coming out to Vegas next time. Let us know. Give us a little bit more advance notice. We're gonna make it happen. Yeah, sorry about that, dude. We had so much stuff going on that week. He was here, just nuts around here.
So that first,
but any of you guys, you come to Vegas, let us know. Give us like a week's notice. We'll plan something.
I think that first sip, right?
Yeah.
The shock to the palate. You don't know exactly what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
The second sip, starting to settle in.
I'm enjoying this thoroughly.
And that third sip,
I think we have someone coming down here for a sample.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to pour.
We're just gonna get an arm and scene here. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
And Sauternes, you'll notice we're not drinking this out of a full-size wine glass. We're drinking it out of a port or a cordial glass. Sauternes, again, it's very it's because it's typically so potent.
Snacks. Yeah.
You do serve it in a smaller glass, right? This is like a sherry, a port. It's potent. Oh, nice crunch. And so you do typically drink it in a smaller glass.
Get into the pairing. Let's get eaten. So,
well, before we do, I do want to get what are you getting on the nose? What are you getting on the palate? You said you like it. What do you like about it? This is a big step for you tonight.
It is, because I'm not familiar with tasting notes of wine. I'm I'm gonna tell you.
It's the same as whiskey. It's the same as whiskey. What do you taste? What do you like? What do you not like? What's great in the nose? What's
Well,
not great?
I'm getting a lot of new
Mm.
sweet flavors, a lot of fruit. I'm getting like pear. I'm getting a really sweet pear.
It's very pear
I'm
forward.
like, this is a grape. How am I getting pear in this? But then you get the raisins. You get that like golden raisins. Like you open up the Raisinets box and you just get that first whiff of that. Those raisins. I'm getting that in there. I get a hint, like I don't get ethanol, but I get like a hint of heat. Like it just feels warm. It's warming. Like the second you sip it, it's got
almost
a good viscous
sunshiny, right?
warmth. Sunshine's a good way to put it. Yeah, and maybe a hint of pepper. I get like maybe pepper and leather on like the hiding there somewhere. If you really want me to get whiskey,
I really like that. I think the pepper is
Yeah.
an excellent pull out at the
Yeah.
end on the finish.
Yeah, on the finish. Yep.
I agree with everything you've said.
Wow.
I agree with everything you've said.
Okay. Well, we can be professionals.
I would even tell you, I think that there's some honeydew.
Oh yeah, melon, like melon for sure.
Like Midori, right?
Midori melon.
It's muted. It's not like in your face like Midori would be, but it's got that melonic flavor profile. I think to your raisins, I'm getting a little bit of that. It's not rancio.
No, there's no rancio.
It's a little funk. It's just a little
dusting. It's barely any funk. This is not funk. I really wouldn't even. I don't even really want to say funky. Like it maybe has a tinge.
Let's see if we can't bring out some of those funk flavor profiles.
Bring out the funk
with some pairings. So we're going to talk about some pairings. You guys ask about pairings a lot when we talk about whiskey, and honestly, all we ever have to say about that is it pairs with everything.
Right.
This being so sweet.
I said the same thing. Mrs. Askin says back to temperature. It needs to be cold, not good room temp.
It could be cold.
Do we throw a cube in here?
No, absolutely not. Okay. If you have a whiskey rock, yeah. But
give me a whiskey rock, maybe as a doorstop. Whiskey rocks. FYI, anybody out there, do not buy whiskey rocks.
Buy a
biggest
whiskey
scam.
Rock. Buy a whiskey rock
in the world. Whoever invented them was a brilliant genius. Because they're the most useless gift of all time.
And how many?
And my apologies. Oh, I've probably received hundreds.
So how many of them do you have right now?
Oh, they're all in the trash. Stop. They're all gone. They're all gone. I've given them away. There is no whiskey rocks in this.
You know why I don't like whiskey rocks? I have several sets. You know what the worst part about whiskey rock is?
When you swirl it in a glass, they break the glass. And then that's also talk about how they don't stay cold. No matter what people think,
they're gone.
They're gone like immediately. It's such a gimmick. It's like having a pet rock. It's a chia pet. Like whiskey rocks. Talk about like whoever came up with that. Kudos to you.
Good for you. So Sauternes, being as sweet as it is and such an interesting flavor profile, typically this pairs well with really rich buttery foods. So tonight I have brought for our pairing, we obviously have some salami, we've got some cheddar, we've got some water crackers.
Explain and then we have what cheese we got here.
We've got a beautiful gorgonzola, which I have also poured a little hot jalapeno honey over the top of. So you got some gorgonzola funk and a little hot jalapeno pepper honey.
I want everyone to see our little platter. That's amazing, by the way. I know some people might be like, gorgonzola, what? No, right amount of funk, and now I'm gonna have some of this sweet wine to offset it.
If you don't like blue cheese, you should really try a gorgonzola.
Oh, that changes everything.
Why? Why? How?
There's like this, not sourness, but like man, it's really making you like salivate too. What the hell?
What happened, Jimmy?
I don't know. I'm kind of in shock right now.
The art of a good pairing.
Yeah.
So if you don't, what I was saying was, if you don't like blue cheese, that's cool.
Plenty of cheeses. I mean, we got a little cheddar here, right?
But I would recommend getting into a gorgonzola because I think a gorgonzola is a much more approachable blue. I think blue can be really overpowering.
Oh,
Roquefort,
definitely.
Roquefort in your face.
Gorgonzola.
Blue
is a good entry into
gorgonzola. Is great, right? Gorgonzola's got the funk. But I think the gorgonzola really brings in some nice leather tones.
So good. Does the flavor of the wine change the food? Change with the food. Yes. Yes,
It absolutely does. 100% it does.
Yeah, Uncle Punky, it does, man.
Wow. And Punky, you know this. What a
Hey, I think he's trying to
what
help
a
us. I think he's trying to help us
softball.
with the,
Thank
give us a
you.
little underhand there, a little underhand
Wow.
throw.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Delightful. I like the sweet heat from the honey. I like the funkiness of this gorgonzola. I think the gorgonzola, interestingly enough, what the gorgonzola does is it really does bring forward some more of the savory tones,
Very
of this,
savory and
of
rich.
this wine, right? This wine
It's
is
salty,
very sweet,
very salty.
but the moment you start to highlight some of those more savory tones of the cheese, it starts to highlight some of the savory tones of the wine.
Yeah, and then you get into it, and then you get a little bit of heat from this honey. There's this like hot honey on here with the gorgonzola, this creaminess, kind of a little bit of funkiness. And then the little salty cracker, and then salt on the cheese, and then you get into the sweet Sauternes. Oh man, they just complement each other wonderfully.
What an amazing thing, right?
Right?
Just pound it out.
Well, been there, done that. Get some wine tastings, charcuterie trays.
So this is really exciting because we do have a lot more wine to bring you over the summer. So this is our intro to show that, hey, just take your whiskey knowledge and apply it to wine.
You can.
It's super doable. What are you doing?
Sorry.
It's in frame.
No,
are
it's
you
not. It's
kidding?
fine. They can't see the game. We're just watching a little. We're watching. Oh yeah, we don't want to see anything because we don't want to take the show down, so we won't say anything because it, whatever. What I missed that. I don't know why Top Feed says, okay, Mrs. Haskins, that was out of line. I totally missed something.
What did Mrs. Haskins write? Go back in the chat.
No, I think she was it an action that she did or something that she wrote. I think it was
definitely something she wrote. Something apparently to Punky.
All right, we'll let them go to it. So anyway, so what else do we have here? I've had the gorgonzola and the cracker.
Try the cheddar. Try the salami.
All right, little cheddar.
That salami is going to be really sweet or really salty. That salt. So salt is an interesting thing that we should talk about really quick too, because
good
salt activates electrodes on your tongue, and even that changes the flavor profile of what you're eating. Not even just with wine, but with everything, right? That's why you salt our food.
So you bring up a great question, Mrs. Askins. Is it like mead? It is, but I want to say this. So mead, to me, and most meads that are big right now are very sweet. The melomel style, just very like not fortified, but just very like secondary additional fruit is added, fruit juice, etc. So
You
they're
think
very
there's sweetening on the back
rich
end?
meads, back sweetened, which some people would cry foul at that and be upset, but whatever. The problem with that is I think it takes away from the complexity. Yeah, you may get like a sweet, rich raspberry mead or blueberry mead, whatever the fruit that's added to it.
Mhm.
But I don't think you're getting anything beyond it. It's not, I don't think you're getting complex notes. I think maybe with a food pairing, you might get a little good, decent contrast, but it's not developing like a wine does. So the grapes just have like this, there's just so much going on. Where like in a mead, it's sweet fruit. Okay, maybe I get one or two somethings, but this I'm getting like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 somethings.
Put that in your mouth.
Right?
Put that in your mouth.
Oh.
And then get some action and talk to me about the smokiness that comes out of that barrel. So no matter what, there is barrel char, even in the wine barrel. We talk about this toasting of the barrel. We haven't talked about barrel character in a long time.
Tastes like Hillshire Farms.
Right, but now
shout out to Hillshire Farms. They're out of Ohio, by the way.
But wait till you get the smoky characteristic of the interior of that barrel. You lose it. It's not there when you're just drinking the wine. But the moment you get some of that smoky, dried,
wow, there is smokiness.
You pull some smokiness out of that Sauternes, and you can start to take some barrel characteristic as well. So let's talk value.
Yes.
Let's talk about this bottle. You can get lots of Sauternes, and I'm gonna warn all of you, because you may be really inspired about this show, and then you're gonna go out and be like, "Holy God, I was not expecting that." And so we want to start you to be a little expectant. Okay, you can buy Sauternes everywhere.
Okay,
you can buy it at your Total Wine.
Yeah, we need to get brass tacks here. What is this?
You can buy it at
us?
You can buy it at Bevmo. You can buy Sauternes, a bottle of Sauternes, at your Whole Foods market. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's very approachable. It's very accessible.
Liquor stores, like a lot. There's some Whole Foods, and some people don't have.
I
them,
don't
or
think a liquor store is going to have this. You are going to have to go to
a wine
a
shop,
wine shop will have
like
this.
a Total Wine, or
Absolutely. A wine store will have this.
okay.
A liquor store, probably not. Okay. This is a 375. It's a small bottle. Again, they don't make a lot of this, and it comes out in waves. So you get 375s. That's all this is. You don't buy Sauternes in big bottles. In fact, if you find Sauternes in big bottles, I would caution you. Okay. This was $30, which is honestly a kind of a value. That's not kind of, it is a value for Sauternes.
Okay.
Typically, your value Sauternes are going to be $40. You're going to see Sauternes probably for about $60.
So, let me ask you a question.
$50-$60.
How does this compare to just like a flat out dessert wine? Like we have.
Good question.
What's the difference, right? Or are they pretty much the same?
It is a dessert wine. All right. First and foremost, this is a dessert wine.
Okay.
I think where a lot of people expect, or what I think a lot of people think of as a dessert wine, is an ice wine, like a Canadian ice wine.
Ice wine.
Or a New England ice wine. And so those ice wines go through, they're not going through noble rot. They're actually left on the vine where rot does not take place. Instead, they freeze. They wait for a freezing process, which does something similar, but you start to crystallize the sugars inside of the grapes at that point. Similar to what's happening with the noble rot, and where it's raisinified, right? You're crystallizing sugars.
Yeah.
But it's a different style of process.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
I think ice wines are less viscous. And I think they're more like a port. And in my experience, ice wines are way more sweet. This to me has a lot more complexity.
Yeah, this is not that sweet. So this is not as sweet as like a mead, like a really heavy duty mead,
or even some of your ruby portos.
Yeah, no, like heavy port, like a Graham's or Tawny Port.
Some ice wines. This isn't even as sweet as an ice wine. It's not
that sweet.
Okay, ice wines are sickly sweet. This is much more approachable.
Yeah.
I think it's much better for like a cheese course or even an end of meal cheese course, but it is a dessert wine. Technically, it's classified as a dessert wine.
This, I think anybody could go out and buy and appear that they know what they're talking about and mix this with a few cheeses and like a cheese spread, little charcuterie spread here, and they would knock it out of the park with any type of party they're hosting. Guys, if you go do this combination here is amazing as it lands on my foot and he's going to pick it up and eat it.
It's foot cheese.
Foot cheese. Disgusting. Watch her. It goes right in his mouth. You saw it here first, immortalized on the internet. Love it.
The extra funk,
Stop. Anyway, back to my point. If you have this at a dinner party or you're just like, wow, I got to entertain some people and I don't know what to do. And I just don't want to go get a bottle of Black Box or a box of Black Box or, what is it? Apothic Red or something, or Barefoot. Speaking of Barefoot. Okay.
Let me buy some Valpolicella, some sweet red bull
Bronzia boxes. Anyway, if you want to have a little bit of class, you just get a little cheese tray with some Sauternes. And I think you got a winner.
So I will share with you, we are going to have a special guest for the next wine show, Mrs. Beer Zombies.
Oh, we're gonna get her on the show soon. Let's keep it a little secret. Let's suppress.
I'm not saying a whole lot.
Okay, we'll just say we'll have a wine influencer.
Yeah,
join us soon.
I did talk to her about how I was planning the show and was sharing with her about how I was doing this bottle. She was so excited. She was like, I can't believe that's how you guys are going to intro your viewership into wine. And I was like, absolutely. It's definitely in the vein.
Yeah.
Because again, complex, not your everyday. And again, to your earlier point, a lot of whiskeys actually will lay their juice in a Sauternes cask for treatment.
Right.
So,
well, and I'm glad we went through this because I'm going to tell you right now, if I didn't know what Sauternes was and the whiskey world's using it, and that's where most of us are, what we're here for and where we came from, you're like, what is this? And now I get it. Like,
delicious.
You can take crappy whiskey or subpar whiskey, throw it into a beautifully sweet Sauternes barrel, and probably change the flavor of that within a couple months to where all of a sudden your subpar mediocre whiskey turns to be a little notch above.
Really infuse it with something beautiful, and very obviously very crafted.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it. So scores.
Scores.
You wanna
Oh,
get
we're
into this?
scoring this?
Absolutely.
Oh boy, I have
this is
no
the Barrel
frame of
Buddies.
reference.
You have the same frame of reference that we use for everything else.
Oh man,
It's the same frame of reference. Nose, taste, value. It's a $30 bottle. Nose and taste.
I love the nose. Nose is solid. I mean, it's like sweet. You get that melon. You get just kind of sweet grapes. I mean, come on. I'm not really like.
Come on. Be confident. You are, Jimmy.
Here's the thing.
You got it.
I don't get a lot on the nose, so I'm gonna give it a 2 on the nose.
Okay.
I think it's. I'm good. I don't want any more of this, please.
I'm just pouring myself a little something to get into the nose here.
You take it away, please. What do you got on the nose?
No, you have to continue.
That was my other half. She wandered away. She disappeared. Okay. They're like, who's in the background? Go ahead. What do you got?
I'm going to.
Hey, no, you want to talk about not subpar whiskey during the apocalypse? If we learn to distill, we will be the next billionaires after post-apocalypse.
Oh yeah,
people that can reload bullets. Number 1, can farm. Number 2,
and get you drunk.
Number 3 is a doctor or nurse. You're automatically going to be in some community. And then number 4, if you can distill, you're in. You're in as well. Those are the top 4 professions in the apocalypse.
That's I like it. Okay, so
all right, we're derailing here.
I like my nose on this. I do think that it's got a nice richness.
Yeah.
I agree. There's like a nice buttery sweetness. I think that it does. I think the nose reads really sweet. I don't think it drinks as sweet as it smells. And I'm gonna go ahead and snake into my taste.
Yeah.
I think that the flavor profile, you said it great. I think there's a great, like, fresh, juicy pear, kind of like the Jelly Belly jelly beans of the pear jelly bean. I think is definitely, there's a good root there. It's not as candy styled as that.
Okay.
It's more rooted in like the pear. It's like the perfectly flavored pear. I think that there's some good melon flavor.
Definitely
a lot of good honey, and I mean like sweet honey that rounds it out. I think it's very balanced. On my nose, I would give it a 2.5. On my flavor profile, I like it a lot. You're right. It's not as sweet. I would also give that a 2.5. And I'm going to jump right into value. I'm just going to lead you there. This for a Sauternes is a value at $30. Okay, that's a value.
$30?
$30 for a 375. That's a value.
That's a solid deal.
Okay. Again, you guys are going to go out there and see Sauternes for like $50, $60, if not more. $30 for a Sauternes that is this drinkable, this good.
Is that the average price? Is that what you're looking at, or they run
average price is
more?
like $50 to $60 for a Sauternes.
Oh, okay.
So to get it at half, or a little better than half, I think that's a value. So I'm going to put it in my grand scheme of things, 8 out of 10. I'm not blown away. I'd probably put this in grand scheme of things in the Sauternes world of Sauternes I've had. I'd probably put this at 79 out of 100.
Okay. You know what I was going to throw out there, and I am like, this rating does not change. I was going to give it an 80 because I figured give it an 80.
That's a good beat.
Nose, I give it a 2. Yeah, I kind of give everything like it's a little bit above average. Like, it's not blowing me away. It's not like OMG, but it's good.
It's tasty.
I think it deserves a solid B. Top Feed says, can't believe you said the Jelly Belly juicy pear reference.
I win.
They're all about that. And he's a farmer too, by the way. He's a farmer.
Oh, really?
I know this is bullshitting us, but
well, the question is, do you farm pears? Because then we should talk. I do
fruit farm.
I love pears. I know you do too. You're a big pear fan.
I'm Mr. Pear. Yeah, I love pears.
I like a good pear, and so I think that's why this speaks to me a little bit.
There's some really good pear meads out there. Just really, since we're kind of in the realm of sweet-ish beverages.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's cool. So besides wine show, what else do we have on deck?
Well, we're finally going to bring back
Disneyland pear martinis.
Wait, who's writing that?
Mrs. Haskins is posted.
Oh my God.
Brings back memories. Where was this? Was California? Where were we?
California Adventure. We don't talk
California
about that.
Adventure. And what was the name of the bar or the restaurant?
It was the $900 switcheroo. They stole $900 of our dollars.
No, it was us four sitting there drinking 18
Oh
pair
my
martinis between the four of us. And that's how you get 900. That's
Oh
how you get a
my
$900 tab at Disney. Is you spend 900 at Disney
It was worth
when you
every
drink
penny.
18 pair martinis at what's the place called?
Carthay Circle.
Cathay Circle, right? Carthay.
Carthay.
Oh, Carthay,
Carthay
because it's
Circle.
the play on
Yeah.
Carthay Circle. The
Mhm.
bar, amazing service. But
Oh,
here's the
good.
problem: those guys come up to you and they're enablers.
Oh, you want
It's
another
like,
one?
Oh, you guys ready for another?
You guys are
Like they're
out.
all about the pitch, and they don't let up. They will just keep on bringing them.
Delightful.
Boom, $20. Boom, $20.
And then they're like,
Yikes!
you guys should have another one, shouldn't we?
Then you get the
Okay.
receipt that just like,
And then we go, oh God, we're washing dishes.
dear God, we almost broke $1,000. Martinis.
In other news, what's coming up? We've listened, we've heard, and we are going to do some Canadian whiskey.
Canadian whiskey. Oh yeah,
The
All right.
Canadian cool down as summer heats up.
I'm
in
all about
Las
that
Vegas.
because I think that there is a lack of appreciation for Canadian whiskey
No, you
because I
don't.
think
You're
no,
a liar.
people think Canadian Club. I think right off the bat you're like Canadian Club and Crown Royal
and Black Velvet
and
and Canadian Mist.
I think the two. I think we kind of have the top four where you're just like all. I don't have a good rep, right?
No, Crown Royal has a good rep.
Well, Crown Royal to an extent. I think a lot of their like
good rep.
attempts at
Yeah.
What am I trying to say here? Some of their attempts at like aged product and like
falls
reserve product
falls flat.
is really falling flat.
But regular Crown,
Well, our Crown Apple,
Crown Peach.
used to be a big Crown Apple guy.
Crown Peach.
That was many years ago. Yeah,
Remember when we'd go into a liquor store and you'd be like, "Hey, you got any of that Crown Peach?" And everybody would be like,
they wouldn't have
"No,
it. They didn't have
no."
it like
Now
a
it's
couple of years ago.
everywhere.
Yeah, I'd say like it really picked up maybe 4 or 5 years ago where people were losing their minds over.
Yeah.
So that's why we're gonna do it. We're gonna do Canadian whiskey.
Delightful.
Talk about its roots, origins, like what are they doing up in the snowy north?
in good old Canada.
And hopefully, yeah, we'll just dig into that. I really know like nothing
It'll be
besides
fun.
just the basics. So we're all gonna learn
It'll
this
be fun.
together.
It'll be
So
fun. So that's what we got going on.
all right.
Was this fun? Did you like this?
I did. I was gonna. Here's the thing. I was going into this like,
I know
well, like
you
we're
were.
doing this like sweet wine.
I
I'm not
know
really
you
into
were.
it. I don't know what this is. I don't know anything about it. And I was very pleasantly surprised. So
I'm
thank
glad.
you for bringing this on the show, and thank you for providing this wonderful charcuterie setup here,
Good
which
pairing,
we will
right?
continue to nibble on.
Oh, we're gonna take this down.
We'll finish this absolutely. I said that honey's actually really hot because I was like, man, I'm starting to get like hot.
I'm
and
sweating it up a
And
little
I'm
bit.
like, why? And it's that hot
It's that
honey. He got hot, honey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, getting hot. I don't think it's that hot in
good.
here. Feeling it.
Good.
So for the
Yeah.
Barrel Buddies, I'm James.
And I'm BJ. We'll see you next week.
See you guys next week.